He kōna I purangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
When I was a little girl, Moerewa wasn't really a place that you would stop in. And sadly, it still kind of has that stigma.
Pamela Ann Simon was born and raised in Moerewa, a small town up north on State Highway 1. If you're on the road, you'll find Moerewa after the 3 bridges outside of Kawakawa.
One thing that I always find that we do lack in is pūtea. We don't have heaps of money, but we have lots of manaaki.
And it's apt that Moerewa has lots of manaaki, or caring, because it was established as a service town built to support the rural community around it. Through the years, there's been the railway, meatworks, forestry, and dairy company and farms. But unchanging through the years, Moerewa has plentiful rivers, streams and mountain ranges, giving it a character all its own, and a reputation for a certain silver-bellied eel.
We're known as Tonu Town. That's why we had the Tonu Cafe.
The name Moerewa is about 3 things, according to local hapu Ngāti Kōpaki: a hikoi, safety in numbers, and a girl who fell asleep. So let's find out more. Join me, Justine Murray, on a road trip to Moerewa in this episode of Nau Mai Town.
And our kitchen, our big communal kitchen with our recycling. This is our t-shirt press room.
I meet up with Pamela Ann and Josie Kemp-Baker inside the offices of He Iwi Kotahi Tātou Trust.
And this used to be the old Foursquare.
Yeah, this used to be...
It's a non-profit community trust that runs a range of social programs, and it's the last shop on the corner of Main Road and Pembroke Street.
Social services over there?
Yeah.
The story behind the name Moerewa, like other stories in Nau Mai Town, this podcast, starts many, many years ago, like way back in the day. And this one is about 800 years or more. So it's good to remember that these stories, or pūrākau, have been handed down to people like Josie, who tell us about this version from her hapu, Ngāti Kōpaki. And it all begins with an ancestor named Nukutawhiti.
Now, Nukutawhiti is the grandson of Kupe. Kupe, the infamous reputation of discovering these isles.
This is a story you may have heard before. Kupe, the explorer, chasing Te Whike o Muturangi, a great octopus. Now, this octopus had been stealing fish from his village. In his pursuit, Kupe's wife, Kurumarotini, saw a large mass under a cloud and shouted, "He Aotearoa," which basically means a cloud, a long white cloud. So, Aotearoa is the dual name of New Zealand, which basically means the land of the long white cloud. Later on, Kupe returned to Hawaii, and it's there that his grandson, Nukutawhiti, wanted to explore the oceans as well. So he, along with his koro, Kupe, and another rangatira, Tōka Kuaku, refashioned or re-adzed Kupe's waka, Matawhaorua. They renamed it Ngā Toki Matawhaorua. The words Ngā Toki mean the plural of adze, in reference to the 2 adzes used. When Nukutawhiti left Hawaii, he encountered some gnarly storms. The story goes that he rode those storms, and just after 6 days at sea, he landed in the Hokianga. Here's Josie Kemp-Baker again.
Later on, Nukutawhiti and his whānau settled in this area. And when I say this area, it's over that way a bit.
Okay, so we're in Moerewa, so how many Ks would you say? Are we going towards Kawakawa?
No, we're going the other way, towards the west.
Nukutawhiti decided to stay.
They were seasonal based, so when it was time for them to collect shellfish, they would travel to the sea, and that was their life. Everything had a season. So supposedly on one of those trips coming home from the sea, Nukutawhiti and his people were travelling along this hill ridge.
A family walking home from the beach, walking together in close formation.
According to my grandfather, The reason they did that was they could hear, the leading party could hear how far back the little ones were and the elder ones were, so they could actually check their own pace to make sure they weren't being left behind. And as they were travelling, Nukutawhiti, it is said, would call out to his daughter, as people do, in the dark, are you all right? Could you hear the mopok talking? How we chatter with our children. And one particular time he called out and she didn't answer. So he stopped the party and went back to look for her.
Don't worry, it's not about to be a tragic ending.
And they found her. She was fast asleep under the brush. And her name was Moerewa.
That was her actual name?
Moerewa.
So Moerewa, the daughter of Nukutawhiti who had fallen asleep.
At the time she was only little. That's the story we are told. Yeah.
So Moe, the word for sleep, and Rewa, or Rewa, the name of Nukutawhiti's daughter, a name to remember that she fell asleep while on a return trip from gathering kaimoana.
Moerewa wasn't it as such, it was Waipuna from Kawakawa where they had the coal mines.
When you say it wasn't established fully at the time?
Yes, gotcha. Yeah.
While Moerewa is the official name, according to the New Zealand Gazetteer, that's the site run by Land Information New Zealand, there has been another one. Ngāti Hene a Henea Maru, another hapu in this region, say the first name of Moerewa was Waipuna. I checked in with Ngāti Hene leaders Kevin Prime and Peter Tipine, and they both confirmed it. Waipuna means a spring of water. Wai is water and puna means to well up or spring. And that makes sense because in Moerewa there are a few streams here like Otiria and Waiharakeke streams. But there's a reminder of that old name in a street name in the town, Waipuna Place. Māori place names, as we've mentioned in previous episodes of Nau Mai Town, are inspired by an act. Somebody said something, someone did something, and then we have a name that tells that history. In this case, Moe, which means to sleep, because Rewa decided she was far too tired from keeping up with her whānau, walking along the ridges at Ongawhi, that she stopped and had a nap, a sleep. For Josie Kemp-Baker, stories like this, stories of the far north, have been shared with her all her life.
And that's how old people told name places, eh? Like Rahiri, when he went on his tipi haere from the Hokianga and he came this way, and one part there, his raincoat, his cape got wet.
We might save the story of Rahiri for another time. Josie remembers a more bustling town when the freezing works was bigger, before the dairy company moved out, and crucially, the railway line closed.
Tupuna and grannies and uncles and that, driving the trains, working at the railway station in Otiria, because it was quite a central hub, because from Otiria you could go to Okaiho, which was the end of the line going north. You could go to Kaikohe, you could go to Whangarei and Auckland, and all the way down from Otiria.
And while the hustle and bustle is not the same, AFCO is still operating. The dairy factory has been replaced with a sawmill, and the trains, in a way, have been replaced by bikes. The Twin Coast cycle trail from Opua to the Hokianga runs through the town, bringing tourists from all over the world. The Tuna Cafe used to be a famous place to stop for some kai. Here's Pamela Ann again.
And so when it first got established, I do think that we saw a lot more people stopping. Yeah, I think that brought people in, and when you're selling really good food, people come.
And a few years ago, a then Northern Advocate reporter gave Hutties the thumbs up.
Apparently it was the cheapest place to buy a coffee in Blimmin, New Zealand or something.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, it still is. It's like $4.50, I think. It still is, even now.
It also had a carving centre and an art gallery, so locals took it hard when that closed in 2011. But in true never say die Moerewa style, a new cafe has risen from the ashes, Hutties Cafe.
Yeah, Motown beef.
Oh,
without
Motown.
a doubt. Without a doubt. Honestly. So when you go over there, you can have, I think Joanne's got the Motown beef chip salad or the Motown beef pizza. It's yummy. That would be a bragging right that I would definitely recommend there if it was me.
Rewa may have fallen asleep here, but this is one town that's not lying down, because in the spirit of their tupuna of Nukutawhiti, who sailed across the ocean to find new opportunities, the town is looking for new ways to thrive.
We have our pātaka twice a week, service 100 homes every week. We've got our Simpson Park domain, and that's currently, we've got that under a plan where we're doing some development to try and get funding to make it a hub. I mean, what better place to have a hub right on State Highway 1 in a real humble little town.
Moerewa, population just over 2,000, according to the last census, named after Nukutawhiti's daughter who fell asleep. Her name, Rewa or Rewa, and Moi, to sleep. Moerewa. Kia ora, thanks for listening, and thanks to Pamela and Simon and Josie Kemp-Baker. Follow and listen to Nau Mai Town, that's Naumai Town, wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed this episode, please tell your friends and give us a rating. Thanks to William Saunders, the sound engineer of this episode. Ko Justine Murray, aho, noho ora mai.